Sorry to interrupt you, but Charles Clarke is getting to his feet, so let's cross there.
As the House will know, Mr Speaker, there have this morning been a number of terrorist attacks in central London. The situation is developing, and I'm not yet in a position to give a conclusive account of all that has happened, but I wanted to keep the House as fully informed as possible. I want to begin by expressing on behalf of the whole country our sympathy for those injured and the friends and families of those who've died. I'm not in a position at this time to give precise details, but what I can say is that 4 explosions have been confirmed. First, on a tube train between Aldgate East and Liverpool Street. Second, on a bus in Woburn Place. Third, on a tube train between Russell Square and King's Cross. And fourth, on a tube train at Edgware Road Station. As yet, we do not know who or which organisations are responsible for these criminal and appalling acts. Of course, our first responsibility is to protect and support the public at this time. The Metropolitan Police are an operational command using well-established and tested procedures. The health services are providing first-class care and support. On transport, the Underground is closed and will remain so for some time, but certainly closed today. There are no buses in central London. Transport for London will decide when to resume services later today. Overground services are subject to substantial delays. Most stations are open, but some are closed. Network Rail will try and reopen them as soon as they can. Airports are operating normally. People are strongly advised not to travel into central London, as the emergency services must be allowed to do their work in the most effective way that they can. Mr Speaker, the Cabinet was informed this morning, and since then I've chaired COBRA meetings to ensure that the whole government commitment is properly coordinated and any necessary support is provided. The Prime Minister is returning to London from Den Eagles to chair a COBRA meeting later today. I will continue to keep the House fully informed.
David Davis.
Thank you. I'm grateful to the Home Secretary for coming to the House so promptly this afternoon. We understand only too well the matters that constrained his time. And let me say at once that joining him in saying that the thoughts and prayers of this side of the House are with all those who were killed or injured earlier today, and indeed their families and friends too. And let me also pay tribute to the men and women of our emergency services. Their response to events such as this is invariably heroic, and we thank them from the bottom of our hearts. This morning's explosions were acts of almost unspeakable depravity and wickedness, planned with a deliberate intention of taking innocent life, and the whole House condemns them utterly. This is not just an attack on our capital city, but on our country and our way of life as a whole. And it goes without saying that the government will have our full and wholehearted support in dealing with this assault on our society. We stand ready with them to play our part. I welcome the Prime Minister's assurance earlier today that the important work of the G8 meeting in Scotland will go on and will not be disrupted by today's terrible events. Now is not the time to allow the terrorists to disrupt our lives in any way. Now is also not the time for many questions. I have just 3 very straightforward ones for the Home Secretary. Could the Home Secretary tell the House what plans are being put in place to protect other British cities that may be at risk at this point in time? There's also obviously confusion at this time, but the most important thing is for the people to remain as calm as possible. To help with this, what plans does the government have in place to keep the public informed about events as the day unfolds? And finally, will the Prime Minister or the Home Secretary return to the House on Monday, when more information is known, to make a full statement on this terrible event? A prime aim of terrorists is to demoralise and divide our communities. It is right that we should be angry at today's atrocities, but it's no less essential that we should remain both clear-headed and united. We say to the terrorists, you will not succeed in setting us against one another. Britain has a long history of dealing with terrorism. We've joined together to fight it in the past. Today we do so again. For now, the terrorism that walks the streets of London has no face. But whatever its origin, whatever its motive, our response will be the same. The British people will not be cowed, and the terrorists will not win. Yeah.